Good afternoon. Welcome to the session, an emerging and rapidly evolving avenue of artistic expression, a presentation by creators of the Amazon original series Mumbai Diaries. I would love to introduce and request our moderator Rohini Ramnathan to please join me on the stage and take over. Radio ki heroine Rohini.
Check. That's a very sweet introduction, I must say. Only happens with people who truly listen to you on the radio, appreciate your work. I appreciate you, Mayur. Thank you so much. A very good afternoon and warm welcome to you all. It is quite a mouthful, isn't it? That topic for today. But of course, if you're here, you're erudite and you can have a look at the screen to actually know that we're going to be talking about VFX, the visual effects that play a pivotal role in the landscape of modern filmmaking. The intricate use of VFX has paved the way for cinematic experiences, and we've seen that over the last couple of decades. But for those who've been here, has anyone here been to the Tech Pavilion? Show of hands, perhaps? Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. There's a reason you're in the front row, girls. All right, the Tech Pavilion right here at Film Bazaar, you would have experienced the amazing immersive world built by VFX in the amazing Amazon original series, Mumbai Diaries Season 2. If you're a fan of the series, please give them a shout, a round of applause. We can make this happen, guys. Thank you. Let's get the energy going at Film Bazaar today. For those of you who haven't, right after this session, it's my absolute recommendation. You must go and check it out. But for right now, of course, we do have the team behind this amazing series to take you through the process of creating this incredibly real world of Mumbai Diaries Season 2. To give us an insight into VFX and its role in contemporary filmmaking, can I please invite Nikhil Madhok, head of Hindi Originals Prime Video India, to take the stage. Hi, Nikhil. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute honor to be here at the 54th IFI, and this is, I need to take a moment just to talk about the magic of this festival. It's such a melting point of, melting pot of culture, of creativity, of cinematic brilliance, with all these, wonderful creators, these wonderful movies from all over the world. So, extremely happy to be here. This is a real celebration of creativity. I want to just start by talking you through a small anecdote. So a couple of years ago, I found myself in the city of Vancouver attending the amazing TED Talks, which is really this global hub of trending and disruptive ideas. And one of the lunches, I was sitting on the table with three very fascinating people who were talking very animatedly. So the first one was this lady, and she told me that her job is to be an asteroid hunter. And you heard it right, an asteroid hunter. She was working for NASA, and her job was to find asteroids which were on a collision course with our beloved Earth. That was a really scary thought, but fortunately she also mentioned that another part of her role was to find out different strategies through which the asteroid's direction could be changed so it doesn't collide with Earth. That was, quite refreshing. Talk about a job that's really out of this world. There was the second guy who was this passionate filmmaker, brimming with ideas, and he told me that, he wanted to tell this inspiring lady's story on celluloid. But he was struggling with the tech of it. How do I create this real-looking asteroid, and how does it get sort of deviated from its trajectory to Earth? And finally, this VFX maestro, who both of them just met a couple of hours ago, and he told these people that he had developed this new technology through which this maker's vision could be brought to life and the asteroid story could be told. And he was obviously delighted that he had met this guy. And I thought it was a great example of, how technology and VFX can help bringing the vision of these creators to life. If technology and if filmmakers are the ones who take us on this beautiful ride and take us into these worlds that we hadn't imagined before, it's really technology and VFX which is the wind beneath their wings. I'd like you to think of a time when you saw a piece of art or a movie or a film or a show that took you into a world which was completely awe-inspiring, where the filmmaker helped you suspend disbelief and took you into in this world that you hadn't imagined before, and what it did to you. And for me, that experience was many years ago, many decades ago actually, watching Star Wars. And that was a movie that really left this indelible mark on my imagination. And at that point in time, we didn't realize that movies like Star Wars and some other cinematic wonders of that time, including our very own Mr. India, would lay the foundation for what we call now the VFX revolution, a revolution that's sort of completely changed the way we think of stories and storytelling and really enabled our makers to dream big. But I also want to say that VFX is not just about creating visually stunning spectacles. It's really at the core, at its heart, it's about giving storytellers the power to envision worlds and narratives without being bogged down by practical constraints. It's really about unleashing creativity and transforming the way we tell stories. That's the real power of VFX. Earlier storytellers faced constraints right at the conception of an idea. Should I put this down on paper because I'm not sure how this is going to get executed? Seems very difficult. But today, with the support of technology, with the support of VFX, they're able to dream big. They're able to be in a position where they can put the narrative at the forefront of the creative process and able to create really these beautiful, immersive worlds, knowing on paper, knowing very well that VFX is there to support them or technology is there to support them to bring this vision to life. This real paradigm shift has done a couple of positive things. The first one is to build in a sense of realism, allowing filmmakers to create these really incredibly real and detailed images of things that would be really impractical to film in real life, be it massive city-destroying monsters in blockbuster movies or subtle facial expressions even in sort of intimate dramas. The second one is this sense of scale. You're able to create these large, epic scenes of scale that would be totally impractical to do in real life using traditional filmmaking techniques. And the third element is flexibility for the filmmakers to make changes even after the filming has been complete. This means directors can adjust visual cues or even fix mistakes that may have happened during the actual filmmaking or production. But here I wanted to sound off a little bit of caution. As the industry very enthusiastically embraces VFX, there is also a mindset that says that this is the best way to reduce costs. Of course, cost advantages are important and we must make the most of it. But to think of VFX essentially as a cost-cutting tool only would be to miss the wood for the trees. We have to think of VFX as this powerful tool that helps unleash creativity and the imagination of our storytellers. That's the real power. Cost is good, but that's the real power. Closer home to India, the VFX journey isn't really a recent phenomena. Decades ago, it started with Hollywood outsourcing graphic designs to Indian designers. That sort of sparked a curiosity and thirst for knowledge. But we've gone from a time where we were largely doing downstream work, competing on price, to now be able to create these wonderful, exceptional worlds with really talented artists who have great capabilities and create these immersive experiences which are equal to some of the best work that's happening in the world, and that's something to be really proud of. At Prime Video, we've been leaning into exploiting this technology to the fullest. So whether it was creating Afghanistan in Film City or an underwater marvel in Ram Setu, or in our horror series Adhura, the kind of special effects that went in to create that sense of horror. Jubilee and the recreation of a real bygone era with such minute focus and great detailing. Or even recently, about a couple of days ago, we premiered The Village, our Tamil series, which is a sort of a supernatural series and takes you into a world which is beyond the realm of reality. But today we are here to talk about one of my favorite shows, Mumbai Diaries, the second season, where there was just some fantastic work that's happened on VFX and technology to recreate a disaster that the entire city went through. And while we'll talk about it in more detail, I must tell you that when Nikhil first came up with the idea, of course there was apprehension and concern that how will we make this happen? It is just too complex a task. How do you show entire cities submerged in rain with floods and torrential rainfall? How do you do it realistically? How do you do it impactfully? And how do you do it in a way that doesn't waste copious amounts of water and ensures the safety and security of the cast and crew? But there was just some remarkable work which was done to make this project come alive, and the results are for all to see, and you'll see more of that later on. And this is a great segue for me to introduce the extremely talented folks at Emmy Entertainment, especially producers Monisha, Advani, and Madhu, Bhojwani. And as we welcome them to stage, I just want to leave by saying, let's celebrate technology, let's celebrate what it unleashes in us from a creativity point of view, but at the same time also celebrate the artists who put in so much effort to make this happen and sometimes sort of go unsung. Thank you very much. The stage is open to Madhu and Monisha.
Oh, here. Thank you, everyone. It's firstly wonderful to be here at the bazaar, at this wonderful gathering of minds and intentions. And it's a full credit to our ministry, to Vani, to the entire team, Jitin, for organizing such an interesting and such a dynamic event. I want to also say a very big thank you before we start. Every producer must thank their studio. So in this case, I want to tell you they are not a studio to us. Amazon Prime Video India has been a big champion and being very good friends of our company. They have indulged us, really. As you heard from Nikhil right now, our Nikhil tends to come up and say that I want to do the impossible. And it's the folks at Prime Video who turned around and said, well, why not? Let's see you guys achieve this. So a big round of applause for Prime. Madhu.
Thanks, Monisha. Our Nikhil is Nikhil Advani, but Nikhil Madhok, don't worry, you're also ours. Firstly, big thanks to Iffy and the folks here. Day before yesterday, when we got here, somebody asked me, so what do you identify as, the art, the artist, or the gallery? And I said, I'd like to believe I'm the patron. But perhaps that's not entirely true, because I think that without Amazon, neither of the three would be there. I'd like to also believe that they're the gallery, so thank you. And very excited to be here. And I know that Rohini talked about the pavilion and the stall of Mumbai Diaries. I don't know how many of you have visited. If you haven't, I urge you, and this is not just a plug for our show, but I urge you to go and see it, because as a producer who has made this show, I was absolutely gobsmacked, because it is such a wonderful spectacle. And in fact, I understand that the Minister Anurag Thakurji also visited on the first day, and he was completely amazed as to how we've done this and how we've achieved this. And what if I tell you that what you see on your screen here is not real? And when I say that, I don't mean that the floods did not happen and that we did not, as a city, have a disaster in 2005 where the city was completely submerged. But to recreate that, we've actually had to do it in a very, very controlled environment, in a studio and on a studio floor. When Nikhil Advani, who is our business partner, and and the director of the show and the showrunner came to us, and said that, hey guys, I've got the idea, I've cracked it. And because Mumbai Diaries, for those of you who don't know, it's basically the story of the city, or rather it's an ode, a love letter to Mumbai city, and how the spirit of every Mumbaiker ensures that even in the face of every disaster, you just keep coming back stronger. And of course, we see it in real life, and so it was a great inspiration. But in the first season, it was about the terrorist attacks that brought the city to its knees. And in the second season, Nikhil said, came to us and said that, hey guys, I've cracked this. And, we had the deluge of 2005, and I think that that's going to be a fantastic backdrop. And I could literally imagine myself drowning in over budgets. And I said to him, Nikhil, how do you think we are going to achieve this? Because the rain is not at our beck and call. B, you cannot shoot in the rains as to whatever you want to achieve. And C, it's going to be a Herculean task. We're just coming off the pandemic. You're going to put everybody at peril by putting them in water. How do we actually achieve this? Of course, to cut a long story short, it was a long journey. And like the life of any producer or any crew that is associated with filmmaking, it's a journey. And it's been such an enriching and, I'd say it's been a fantastic learning experience for us, because it's opened us up to this wonderful magic land of VFX and what it can do for you. Of course, at Emmy Entertainment, our tryst with VFX has been a long-standing one, where we've seen budgets. And when I say budgets, I mean as a percentage of the entire budget, VFX has moved from a single digit to, double digits. Absolutely, and so it's been fascinating. But Mumbai Diaries is one of those shows which is very, very close to us, and we're very, very excited that we've had this platform to showcase the show, talk about it, and delve deeper into the process and the VFX piece. Monisha, would you like to add something?
I want to actually now invite.
I think we have a.
Is that my cue? Yes. Thank you. So I'd like to invite the two gentlemen who have partnered with us. Malay, please. Malay is our director of photography. Please, a round of applause to a man who literally followed Nikhil into battle with water. I have seen him completely drenched, and then again I've seen him along with his team download I don't know how many apps to turn around and say, where's the rain, where's the rain? And then we had Vishwas, who has partnered us on numerous projects, but without this magician. Please, Vishwas is our VFX supervisor, and I just want to say that without these two gentlemen, a lot of Nikhil's vision would have been incomplete. So a round of applause for Vishwas, guys.
So I think that's our cue to let the tech guys take over. But thank you. I guess we'll be back on.
So before we let the geniuses speak, there's a video that we'd like to show you. So eyes on the screen, please. Thank you.
So, yeah, you want to start with something or should I?
We have a small presentation to do. I'll just. This is the VFX breakdown, the plan that we had on the shoot. So the brief that we had for the railway bridge, can't hear? Yeah. So the brief that we got was that the city is flooded with water, and the only way of transport was the railway station. And so all the crowd moved toward the railway station, and there was a huge crowd on the station, and they get to hear that there's a train coming on one of the platform. So all of them rushed to that platform, and they had to get onto a bridge. And the bridge was under construction, it was under maintenance, and the bridge collapsed. So based on this brief that we got, we thought we'll make a storyboard.
And also, just like how Nikhil sir's vision, what everybody just talked about is what we always kind of imagine is always something complex. Anytime anything seems easy, we don't really want to do that. So the idea was to keep all the shots as dynamic as possible and as moving as possible and as organic as possible. So that made Vishwas's job, of course, all the more difficult.
That's a challenge.
The idea was to get the scale out here, because also for the most part we are inside the hospital, and unlike season 1, there's not that much time that we're spending outside. So we really wanted to juice out the scenes that we had outside. So this is just one of them, which we kind of storyboarded, and Vishwas did his previs.
So based on the storyboard, then we got the previs done to understand how complex the camera movement can be and what can we achieve, what complex we can achieve in the given scenario. So we did some previs, and then at that point we knew that we can do whatever we want. We can do whatever kind of camera movements. We gave the DOP the opportunity to do whatever he wants. I mean, we didn't keep any restrictions on that. So based on that, the art department built like a kind of a rough art for us, which we took forward. We went and we started looking out for stations which were close to this, which were readily available. But after going around, we realized that it's like practically not possible to shoot on a real station. And luckily, we found one set that was partially built, and then the art department took over and they completed the set to the way we wanted it to be, and the scene was shot on that set. So this is...
Yeah, so this was a set in Bombay somewhere, I mean, in the suburbs, which was quite interesting. Was that it gave us a scale, but we wanted even more of it, where Vishwas kind of came in and added things, and we really wanted to explore as much of the station as possible and show different parts of the station. Where there's a bridge, which is the main kind of focus of this location, and of course, apart from this, again, another big thing was the crowd. We really wanted to enhance the crowd, like how it used to be like a Dadar. Dadar was such a crazy, anybody who even heard of or was there on the night in 2005 sure knows about it. So to get that amount of crowd and that amount of depth, this was one of the most complex shots that we kind of designed. We wanted this shot to have movement. Something like this, if it's static, it's fairly easy. I mean, fairly easy. But this kind of a shot with movement is something that takes a lot of planning and like a lot of precision in terms of how the camera moves, as well as all the readings that we take in terms of focus and whatever else. So Vishwas, can you just kind of
and then for VFX, working with water is like the top level complex work that has to be done. So in this scene, we had to show that the bridge collapses. So there were multiple layers taken. There was CGI environment created. There were streets, cars. The platform had to be extended. The tracks had to be extended. The train had to be added. A lot of elements were added onto this to give it that feel of scale and depth.
And also for such a shot, like these kind of shots, when you have like closer shots, it's much easier for us to do interactive rain, because it's whenever you see characters and you're close to characters, you need to see the rain interaction. But especially something like this, this is a shot which pulls out from a character and it goes into such a wide, epic sort of shot. For something like this, the creation of rain is also one of the biggest challenges that we did a lot of versions for till we felt like we got the right one in the end. And of course, the kind of buildings, some of the buildings that kind of made sense for this to be like the other, some of it didn't. So he had to kind of take that out and make it a little more believable in that aspect.
There were a lot of particle effects added, sparks, elements flying, debris. This was the other scene where we had to show the streets of Mumbai submerged in water, and all the cars and people wading through the water. So there was no way that could be shot on any street. So we had to build a tank and put all the elements, all the vehicles inside and all the people inside and shoot. This was like a major Malay shoot.
So this was something which was probably one of the main reasons when I first got to know about the show from Nikhil sir and from his associate, was one of the most sort of exciting things for me. This scene is part of the reason why, one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show, was just the craziness of the streets of Mumbai, and to make it look as believable as possible, and also at the same time organic yet dramatic. So we didn't want any restrictions. That was the main thing from both Nikhil and me. We did not want any restrictions in terms of the kind of shots we can take, in the kind of camera movements that we can do again. So earlier the idea was to kind of go into a swimming pool, and usually that's how people do underwater shoots. But of course the scale that we were looking at, the control that we were looking at, the safety of actors that we were looking at, based on those things, the concerns, we decided, and of course that's where big props to you guys, the producers, because this was a big dent, I'm sure, on the budget compared to what was planned. But we decided to get the biggest floor available in Mumbai and build this 100 by 60 tank, create two proper lanes, and get these really, really important Bombay elements like the BEST bus, the kind of dividers that are there that used to be there back in the day, all those things. And also, apart from that, another major thing was we wanted it to look believable, and usually when you put cars inside water, you have to take their engines out for safety of actors, for oils not to spill. So after having cleaned out all the cars, there's no engines in these cars, so we had to manufacture these lights, which went as headlights and tail lights of all these cars, which function underwater. These lights didn't exist before we began shooting the show. So we had our lighting team really manufacture it from scratch, these lights that we can use, because again, this is a small element which makes it so much more believable. And after that, of course, once we shot it, of course, without any restrictions. There's not a single shot while taking which we were like, oh, is this a problem for VFX? No, there was no consideration, because Vishwas had given us the liberty to move forward, move ahead the way we wanted to. And after that, it's all his magic.
This was one shot which we had to show the streets of Mumbai, and the drone flies by and we show the whole city like flooded with water and heavy rains. So to make it look more like Bombay, we thought the good idea would be to add those blue tarpaulins on top of the building, which gives a sense of Bombay during the monsoon. Especially when you land from the plane, you see all the blue. So we constructed buildings in CGI, we added tarpaulins on the existing buildings, and gave it a sense.
And we also wanted to see a sense of the sea, which the location that we were shooting at didn't permit us. We couldn't look at the sea over there. So he had to construct the sea, take down the skyline, of course, keeping 2005 to 2009, kind of that time in mind. So that's another sort of important thing that was there for us.
This is it.
Thank you so much to both of you. I'm going to request the two of you to take a seat actually on the stage, while I, of course, welcome back Monisha, Madhu, and of course Nikhil to join us for a quick chat. Thank you so much. We have about 20 minutes for a very valuable chat with each of you. Thank you. I'd like to first congratulate you. I was part of this day in Mumbai, and that's why this show
Wow.
means so much to me. I was one of those many people trying to get back home, and this show truly, in a good way, brought back those memories. Definitely not in a bad way, because what shines through is the resilience, and that's what this city is about. So first of all, can I please, on behalf of every Mumbaiker, just give them a round of applause for giving us that day all over again. Nikhil, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to say a very generic, general, sweeping statement that, VFX is not a new phenomenon. Okay, it's also used extensively outside of our country, but I feel that we're a lot more confident with the use of VFX recently in the last couple of years. Why do you think that is?
You're absolutely right. It's not that recent as a phenomena. I think if you look back, attempts have been made, and you don't have to look too far ago. If you start from 1987 with Mr. India, and then you have the Krish movies, and then you've had Robo, and then recently RRR and Bahubali. So sporadic attempts have been made, and it's only become bigger. I think two things have happened. One, for the creators, the belief that now you have people around you whose ability to create, high quality visual effects is much stronger than it was 15, 20 years ago. And that gives a lot of confidence to people to start dreaming and believing that, this can be done. As, Malay was saying, that the freedom was that let's go and shoot it in the way, and, we will get the VFX to sort it. I think that has played a massive role. And I think more recently, it's also to do with the pandemic, which kind of forced a lot of people to evaluate new technologies, because shooting in real life locations became a problem for 2 years, around the lockdown. So that was the more sort of recent impetus. But I think I also feel at some level streaming has played a role, because now you have access to your content on global platforms. Any show or movie that launches on Prime Video is available in 240 countries, day on date, and territories. And also there are dubs and subtitles. So I've had a lot of makers come and tell me that our content is going to be there with the best of the other stuff in the world, and I can't have something that looks even a little bit shoddy. I need to put in my best work, and that's really sort of heartening, and it's getting better.
Well, thank you so much, Nikhil. Monisha and Madhu, I leave it to you to actually answer which one of you will. But I feel that the role of VFX has really shaped the storytelling of our projects now. So how does it impact, in this sort of landscape? How does VFX impact the story that you tell, or the story that you can tell?
I think I'm just going to underline what Nikhil said. It gives really the opportunity for what we've seen here, for somebody to imagine and for people to realize that imagination. I think the wonderment with which we click a button and switch on a screen, or when we tap into our phones and we open it, we're all looking to be drawn into a world where we see things which are authentic, even magical and fantastical, but there has to be some grounding of authenticity. So I think that it's a combination of the creator's imagination, as well as our audience's appetite and desire to be seduced with more. So I think the two things symbiotically are determining this. Madhu?
I just think that it's giving creators the ability and the opportunity to push the envelope a lot more. From our own experience and our own filmography, the kind of stories that we are able to tell, particularly when you go into period cinema. You cannot possibly have access to those locations, those settings, or if you are imagining a world which is fantastical, like she said. And it's only possible because of VFX. So what it does is that it gives you wings. You're able to fly, and you're able to really imagine without boundaries. I think that is really the true gift of VFX. Of course, it's just a question of how much of VFX can you really afford, but we'll talk about that later.
We will talk about that. Thank you so much, ladies. I'm going to take this to Vishwas and Malay. When Nikhil answered my first question, he pointed to you all, saying that also we have confidence because we have great talent who is able to deliver the sort of vision that we'd like to have, for our creative projects. But let me ask the two of you, how do you think that the VFX technology has evolved in the last couple of years, specifically in Indian entertainment, and where do you see it heading from here?
I think I'll answer this. The VFX has a lot of international shows have been coming to India and getting executed here. So the exposure has been great for the artists, and they've learned quite a bit from all this that's been happening. Other than that, the technology also has grown drastically. Like with real-time rendering and virtual production, things are becoming quicker and quicker for the VFX team to look at it and do the corrections and work on it and make it as much more realistic and much more better as possible. So the betterment of things will keep happening as the technology grows and your software, your systems become faster and faster, and you keep doing everything at real time. So that has really, really helped the technology, and that's growing and is going to be getting much better and better as we go further.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to come back to the both of you again, Monisha and Madhu. With the rise of streaming platforms, has the demand for VFX content changed in any way? And how do you adapt your production strategies to cater to these diverse audience preferences? I like how we're actually building on our last answer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one that, and of course what Nikhil said here. I think the fact is, I mean, if you look at VFX in the context of what streaming has done, it has made it something that's accessible, but on a global platform, when we are competing with content in a sense for mindshare, we have to be really matching it. So there's a combination. I mean, if I turn to Vishwas, who talks about talent that's available, there's also cost associated with it, because internationally, the budgets are very different from the budgets that we can afford for this market at this point. I think one of the purposes of being in this forum today and presenting this, I think creates that opportunity for us as a marketplace to really rise. And I think that it's a demand and supply thing. What do you think, Madhu?
Yeah, so, absolutely right, Monisha. But, where the demand for VFX is concerned, I just think that there's demand for a lot more because we are consuming so much more content. So by virtue of that, the pie grows bigger, so every piece of the pie expands. But I will say this, that, from the first film and I can speak of my own experience, from the first film that we did where the wallet share of VFX as a percentage of budget was a sliver, 2%. And it's a function of the story you tell. It's also a function of the fact that, you may not have access to the technology. Today, the wallet share has significantly expanded. I mean, we are making shows where the VFX is going from 10 to 15% of the budget of those shows or those films. So I think there is definitely a demand, but I also think it's a function of the fact that we are doing so much more. Technology is evolving, the talent is available. So indeed, and I think that OTT has played a very, very big role in that. Yes, absolutely.
Over to you, Nikhil. At this point, a round of applause. Definitely. Thank you. It's tough, right, to do a session, during tea time. So your applause will tell us that you're with us. So if you can give us a round of applause. Thank you. In your experience, how has the ability to push boundaries with VFX impacted storytelling? And this is at the conceptual stage. When you're imagining, does a great VFX department make you audacious storytellers? Is my actual question to you.
Sure, it's a good one, and since I'm a Star Wars geek, I'm going to go back to this example when George Lucas first conceived Star Wars and the world that he wanted. At that point in time, there wasn't any technology available to make his dreams come true, his cinematic vision come true. So he went ahead and created Industrial Light and Magic, hiring a few mavericks and said, you are my production, you're my VFX house, and make my vision come true. And they did it so brilliantly. So I feel that one of the most important things is that technology will move at a certain pace, but the real joy is when a creator makes the demand. When the creator imagines a world and makes the demand of technology, then people rise up to the challenge and make it happen. Left to its own devices, of course, we will, see a movement. But to really witness a step jump, you need somebody to be able to come and say, "This is what I have in mind. I'm not going to compromise till it gets done. Figure out how we will make it happen." And I think some of the examples that were shared here as well. If Nikhil Advani is not very clear that he won't let this happen without this, it doesn't, sort of push the entire ecosystem to say, I have to deliver to that vision. So I think the creator's impact is extremely crucial, and they should make the demand. And I really feel that we're